Wait until I start telling you about this movie I know you never heard of. Morgan, 2016. And it stars Anya Taylor-Joy, the It Girl, one of the top actresses today. Why have we not heard about this movie? Why don't we discuss it? And why do we not put it in the category of perfectly budgeted, optimized science fiction? This is a big science fiction movie because it has nothing but big ideas. Well, that's what we do here on this podcast. We watch everything, we go into deep dives, and while I was on my Ridley Scott deep dive, and I hate to do this association, I'm deep diving Ridley Scott, and I find a movie directed by Luke Scott. That's his son. What the hell? Ridley Scott has a son working in Hollywood? What are we doing? So guys, let's go. Morgan, 2016.
Quiet on the set.
Camera speed.
Sound production. Take one.
Action!
Let's just get right into the dirt, AKAPADers. We gotta talk about the cast of this movie. We already spoke about Anya Taylor-Joy. You know the cast is going to be a banger if I'm getting right to it. Kate Mara, House of Cards. She is incredible wherever she's in. Toby Jones, one of the best character actors that we have. I prefer the Toby Jones Capote versus the Philip Seymour Hoffman Capote. I'm just saying that. Boyd Holbrook, Paul Giamatti, one of the best character actors today. Rose Leslie, Michelle Yeoh, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Brian Cox, Vanita Robinson. This movie was made for $8 million. Guess what? If you were to guess that this movie was made for $8 million or $10 million, you can guess a low budget watching this movie. I said optimized. Limited sets. Well shot. It works. We're indoors, we're outdoors. A little bit of a forest clearing. We need something close to a lake because you got to do a lake because it's beautiful. Our character, Morgan, she spends a lot of time in the cell. She spends a lot of time in the hoodie. She spends a lot of time in sweats. She's genetically engineered. She's a super killer, super assassin. At the beginning of this movie, she just offs someone. And then this movie escalates. It escalates with Kate Mara, who plays Leigh Weathers. I absolutely love that name. Leigh Weathers, she's auditing. She's like, look, we got to figure out what we're doing with Morgan because she's a liability to the company. We've all heard this before, right? I'm just like reading. It's almost like I'm reading a script to another movie. Reading the plot, at least, to another movie. So, through the auditing process, we have the escalation of Morgan. Paul Giamatti is her psychiatrist. He's there to evaluate her. Again, because the beginning of the movie, Morgan kills her psychiatrist friend. Just kills her. And then the movie escalates where this... And we know it's Hannah. Hannah inspired a generation that cute girls can be lethal killers. Cool. Right? La Femme Nikita. The Professional. Luc Besson. But no, the movie escalates. And Morgan, we see how ruthless of a killer Morgan is. And then the auditor, basically the investigator, well, we know that she's there to fight back. She is not so much of an investigator. She is also herself a weapon. So we get this cat and mouse. And we get some great fight scenes. We get some awesome blood. We get some great kills in the forest. It's insane. It really is. This movie escalates quickly and as I like to say, it races downhill. The cast alone. Part of one of the reasons why I had to watch this movie, and I was so delighted when HBO Max had it available, is I was researching, just going down Ridley Scott's producer credits, which are insane. And this movie kind of stood out because the cast, and I'm like, why have I never heard of a movie with a cast like this? And then I see Luke Scott, and I'm like, oh, wait, Luke Scott just works with his second unit, works with his father. He's directed some episodes of Raised by Wolves. It's amazing to me that between Luke Scott and Seth Owen is our writer. This is where part of this conversation gets frustrating for me. You would think on the strength of this movie, somewhere along the way, someone would say, look, your genetically engineered, modified girl assassin versus assassin movie is pretty damn awesome for $8 million. We realized you might have had some help with your daddy's credibility and time. His father's 90 years old. He's still making movies. He's got like 2 movies coming out in the next calendar year. One of them's about the Bee Gees. But you would think someone would say, hey, what you did with Morgan, a sprawling science fiction story. Like I said, genetically engineered assassins. You gotta love it. Would you like to do this? Would you like to direct the remake of I Am Legend? Would you like we're bringing back Logan Run. Would you like to direct Logan Run 2.0, right? But no, it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen for Seth Owen. So I was confident if I found the credits of Seth Owen, I would see a dozen movies, because how do you not hire this guy? How do you not hire this guy? And his previous writing credit, All Nighter, which I have to see now because it stars Emile Hirsch, and you guys all know I have a crush on Emile Hirsch. I just love the way the camera picks him up. And J.K. Simmons. Isn't this crazy? Like, what a weird industry. This movie is, I would put this movie with Upgrade from a few years ago. I love big idea, like mid-budget. I would consider this one like a small budget movie. It's a true small budget movie. There's an element of understanding the genre that's in here. Clearly, our two architects, director and writer, Luke Scott, Seth Owen. Clearly, these 2 individuals understand science fiction on a very high level. To boil it down to this, to where we have a couple scenes, we get the explanations, we see the environment, we see the world. We have to introduce a struggle of humanity. Horror goes into like the personal struggle. Science fiction has to lean into a struggle of humanity. And we get it all here. We even get, at the end, Brian Cox gives this wonderful speech at the end of this movie. And again, they get Brian Cox for this movie. Mr. Succession. I still know him from Troy, by the way, because I watch Troy all the time. And we find out that both of these girls are products. They're experiments. They're both engineered. Leigh Weathers is the model that came before Morgan. Leigh Weathers won. This girl won. Kate Mara kills, spoiler alert, she kills Morgan at the end. But we find out that she is the one to continue. How does someone just not say, can we get more of this? This is beyond me how this movie, like, isn't there. Like, this movie should be a cult movie. This movie should be honored and respected and repeated, but it's not. And it's so frustrating, but so enjoyable. AKAPADers, if you have HBO Max, Morgan, if you can get HBO Max for free for a couple weeks, and you have one of those disposable debit credit cards, put HBO Max on that. Let it drain out, just so you don't have to remember to cancel. But if you do get a free period, mark it on your calendar. This movie deserves all of your time, all of your attention, especially for science fiction fans. Here we go. That's what we do here. Mic drop. Moving on.
Okay, that's a wrap.